In Fayetteville, North Carolina, just outside the gates of Fort Bragg, one of the busiest military bases in America. A small white house stood on the corner of Maple Street. Inside, Anna sat by the window, staring at the lamp-post outside. It flickered faintly in the wind, and every night it reminded her of him. Her husband, Sergeant Daniel Miller, had been deployed to Afghanistan for the past 9 months. Every evening, after putting their 5-year-old daughter Emily to bed, Anna would make herself a cup of tea and sit in silence. The house felt too big, too hollow, without his laughter, without his boots by the door. The nights were the hardest. The silence pressed against her chest like a heavy stone. She tried leaving the television on just to drown the loneliness, but it never worked. Fayetteville was full of military families, and she knew she wasn't the only one waiting. Yet, in her heart, it always felt like no one could understand her kind of waiting. Once a week, a letter would arrive, sometimes crumpled, sometimes dirt-stained, as if it had traveled through the desert itself. Daniel's handwriting was uneven, rushed, as if every word was written in a hurry before the sirens would call him back. Anna, I miss you more than I can ever write. The nights here are endless, filled with sounds I'll never forget. But what keeps me breathing is the thought of your silent nights back home. Don't think I don't know what you're going through. I picture you at the window, and I swear I can almost feel it. Anna pressed the paper to her lips. She kept all his letters in a wooden box on the nightstand, but as comforting as they were, they also deepened the ache. For every word he wrote, there were 1,000 he couldn't. On Sundays, she attended the support group at the church downtown. Fayetteville had hundreds of women like her, each with a story, each with eyes that looked both proud and exhausted. One woman spoke about how her husband had been gone for 15 months and how her son barely remembered him. Another talked about the fear of late-night calls, the ones that every military wife dreaded. Anna never spoke much. She just listened. But as she walked back home with Emily holding her hand, she realized every wife there shared the same unspoken pain. The nights when they pretended to be strong for their kids, but broke down when the house was finally quiet. Winter came early that year. Fayetteville's streets glistened with frost, and Emily kept asking when her dad would be home. Anna never had the perfect answer. "Soon," she would say, forcing a smile. One night, a storm rolled in. Thunder roared across the sky, rattling the windows. Anna tucked Emily in and then sat alone in the living room. The storm outside felt like the war Daniel was fighting, loud, violent, uncontrollable. But inside she sat in silence, her heart pacing faster than the thunder. Her phone buzzed. An email. It was Daniel, short, rushed, typed in all caps. "Alive, safe, we'll write more tomorrow. Love you." Tears spilled down her cheeks. That single line meant everything. She held the phone against her chest like a lifeline. Months later, the deployment ended. Families lined up at the gates of Fort Bragg with banners, balloons, and children waving flags. Anna stood in the crowd, clutching Emily's hand. When Daniel finally walked through, uniform dusty, eyes tired, Anna's heart nearly gave out. But when he hugged her, she felt something new. His arms were strong, but his eyes, they carried shadows. Nights after his return, Anna noticed him staring at the ceiling, wide awake. Sometimes he sat by the window just like she once did, silent, and unmoving. The silence had followed him home. And that's when Anna realized the silent nights were no longer hers alone. They belonged to both of them now. The world often celebrates the bravery of soldiers, but behind every deployment lies a family, wives, children, parents, living through silent nights, waiting with unshaken hope. Some wars are fought on the battlefield, and some within the walls of a quiet home.